essentially I also had to protect my calendar because like I was saying, I got an influx of people just booking calls, and I love that. I was so grateful for that. However, these people weren't actually converting into paying clients. They were just people that were looking for stuff for free, that were just trying to come in and get advice and then take it or leave it and then go on about their day.
Welcome to the Side Hustler Podcast, your go-to space for content creation, actionable strategy, and the real behind the scenes of building a business while you're still balancing a full-time job. Every week we talk about what actually works, what doesn't, and how to create content that moves your business forward without burning you out. I'm your host, Carly LeBlanc. Let's get started.
Hello, and welcome back to the Side Hustler Podcast. I'm your host, Carly LeBlanc, and I'm so excited to have you here today on the podcast. So I wanted to just go ahead and jump into today's episode because one of the most common questions that I get from a lot of people is, Carly, how the heck are you doing all of these things? Now, if you're new here and you're like, Carly, who are you? Let me just give you a little bit of insight on who I am. So I am Carly LeBlanc. I am a wife. I'm a mom. I currently work a 9 to 5. And then I also have not one, but two businesses. One is a content creation agency here based in Houston, Texas, where I help local entrepreneurs batch shoot their content to market their brand on social media. But one of my newest babies is my tech startup company that I have with one of my business partners, and that is called Batch, and she is a new baby that is in my world where we're actually building this platform from the ground up so you can actually utilize an app to be able to also find local talent in your city to help you batch your content in whatever city that you're in. Now, I would be lying if I said that it was easy because it is very challenging. Even while I'm sitting here right now in this seat, I am exhausted recording this. But one thing I will say is that I pride myself on is showing up. No matter how hard it is, I'm going to show up. And so I wanted to record this episode because I wanted to give insight on what a day-to-day looks like for me, but then also some of the tools and strategies that I'm using in my day-to-day life to help me balance or find balance in everything that I have going on in life. So in this episode, we're going to talk about capacity and how I utilize my capacity to help me make decisions in my business. We're also going to talk about systems and boundaries that I have in place to help me allow myself to show up without burning out. And then we're going to talk about the three essential things that I use that helps me to be a better person overall. All right? So without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Okay, so let's talk about capacity. So last year, I want to say I recorded an episode about how last year was my hustle year. And I truly believe that every business owner has this season in business where they're just hustling to basically keep the lights on in business. And although my business isn't essentially my primary piece of income, I still see my business as a source of income. And I really wanted to make sure that my business was thriving. I didn't want to just do this and say, you know, this is on the side. Like, this is a business, honey. Okay, so with that being said, last year was my hustle year. I found myself running myself raggedy. I was taking clients on Sundays. I was giving myself 7 days a week to work, no days off. I was not setting limitations on how many clients I could actually service a month. I wasn't taking into account all of the things that come with servicing all these clients every single month. And so with that, I found myself by the end of the year just completely just busted, torn up, wore down, exhausted, all of the things. Hence why I had to go on sabbatical, because I was exhausted. Your girl was exhausted, okay? Now, one of the things I will say is that being exhausted helped me understand that I cannot find myself going the same route another year like this. Now, like I said, every business has their hustle season. There's always going to be a year in business where you're like, I got to get it out the mud. And then there are going to be some times in business where you can say, you know, these are my boundaries. These are my non-negotiables. Take it or leave it. Whatever it is what it's going to be. And so now I'm finding myself shifting into the latter. However, last year, it was just like, whoever wants to work with me, I'm down for it. Whatever day you need me, I will make it work. I was utilizing my PTO for work to go on my content days and wasn't actually using my PTO to actually take a day off. I was finding myself working on Sundays, which I normally never do. I was finding myself working every single weekend, which then left my social life neglected. And anytime clients needed to hop on a call or wanted to do something, I would just allow them, even if that meant cutting into my gym time. And so, as you can imagine, that was not a sustainable system. And so understanding your capacity is the best thing that you could do for yourself in business. So this year I told myself I have a limit. Like, my limit is 5, maybe 6 clients a month. Last year, I was seeing anywhere between 10 to 12 clients a month. So I essentially cut that number in half because I cannot run myself ragged. Another thing that I understood was that I am not a morning person. So why do I keep forcing myself to be a morning person? I would have people book content days at 8 o'clock in the morning, knowing that it would take me an hour to commute across city, knowing that I had to wake up an hour before to get ready, to pack my bags, to get my kids situated, and all the things, which then means that I'm running myself ragged. I would have 2 content days in one day, which also mean that I was running myself ragged. So I had to also set those rules and limitations, like, hey, the first content day on a Saturday starts at 12. I need to at least be able to sleep in a couple hours, maybe even eat breakfast with my kid, and then I will service my client. Another thing is that I don't do 2 content days in a day anymore. Those days are behind me because running around the city and being out in the streets for the whole entire day is just exhausting. And I did not have the bandwidth to do that again. And so I challenge you, if you are in a place of business where, maybe last year was your hustle year and this year you're trying to be a little bit more established, or maybe it wasn't your hustle year, but you just want to move with wisdom, I challenge you to find those areas of growth and find those areas where you feel the most burnt out, and take an audit of the things that are most exhausting in your business and try to find different ways to actually overcome those things that are exhausting you in business.
Have you ever found yourself stuck on what to post or struggling to stay consistent on social media? I've been there, and that's exactly why I created this free guide called 30 Days of Done For You Social Media Prompts for Personal Brands. This guide is loaded with prompts to get your gears turning so you can have a gallery of content to create for your brand and never stress about what to post again. And you can grab it right now at cdcreativecoagency.com/content and start creating content that connects without the stress.
So another thing that I had to start implementing in business this year was paid discovery calls. Now, I'm not gonna lie, and I apologize to all the people that I was just like, to when I had to pay for a discovery call, because I totally get it, okay? I totally get it. So this year, and the crazy thing is that I've had a business coach tell me, you need to be charging for discovery calls. And I looked that lady in the eye and was like, I'm not charging for discovery calls. Like, that's just gonna slow down business. That's just gonna, do all these things. I had to start putting payments in place for discovery calls. Why? To protect my calendar. I would say since last August, I have seen an influx of inquiries in my business, which, hooray. I mean, that's what a lot of people want. That's what everybody desires to have, leads just coming left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. However, I was seeing that I would either have people that would clog up my calendar, they wouldn't confirm their appointments, they wouldn't show up for their appointments, or they would get on these discovery calls and expect for them to be free strategy calls. And overall, listen, people pay me for my advice, okay? People also pay me for my time. And I had to realize that the amount of brain activity it takes to be on these calls back to back to back, the amount of brain activity it takes for me to dive into your business, for me to lock into your business, takes a lot of brain capacity, a lot of creativity, a lot of strategy. And I had to protect my creativity. Essentially, I also had to protect my calendar because, like I was saying, I got an influx of people just booking calls, and I love that. I was so grateful for that. However, these people weren't actually converting into paying clients. They were just people that were looking for stuff for free, that were just trying to come in and get advice and then take it or leave it and then go on about their day. And that would result in me either missing out on my gym appointment or just being too exhausted to do anything. And so for me to actually find balance, I had to charge for my discovery calls. Now, if you're serious, you'll give me the money that you're already going to put towards the service that you already said you want to purchase, okay? So that's the thing that I feel has helped me to protect my calendar. I require a $50 deposit for you to book a discovery call with me. The discovery call is 15 minutes for me to kind of just dive into your business, give you insight on what's the best way for you to go by marketing yourself with content, whether that be a content strategy session or a content day. But essentially that same $50 that you have given me is also going to get applied to your actual service that you actually book. So this has helped me to be able to cut down the noise, cut down the chaos, cut down the people that just want stuff for free, and really be strategic about my time. Really be strategic about my discovery calls, because also I will say, whenever I would get all of these influx of discovery calls, I will find myself just not being able to like focus, because I'm thinking, okay, I have a call with this person and then I have about a 10-minute, break to get myself together before I hop on another discovery call. And then before I hop on another discovery call. And on most days, I would have anywhere between 3 to 4 discovery calls booked back to back. And so it's a lot. It's a lot. And so I had to protect my calendar by implementing paid discovery calls. And when I tell you, spiritually, it was probably one of the hardest things that I've done. However, I'm just learning to be a good steward over my gift and protect my creativity with people that are actually serious and that want to invest in my gift. And so I'm just going to leave that there. I don't know who that's for, but if it's for you, let it be for you. This be your confirmation, sis. If you're scared, just do it. But hey, I will say I sleep very well at night.
Okay, quick pause. If creating consistent content feels like a full-time job on top of your full-time job, then you're going to want to hear this. I am excited to bring to you Batch, which is a new marketplace platform that I and my co-founder Lauren have created, built for entrepreneurs and content creators. This is the marketplace that is going to connect business owners and entrepreneurs who need content with vetted local creators who can help them plan, shoot, and edit their content all in one place. So many of you have asked, when am I going to be able to book you for a content day? When can you come to my city? Do you know anyone in my city that does what you do? And this is going to be the solution. So whether you're an entrepreneur who is tired of struggling to find reliable content creators, photographers, or maybe you're just a creator who's ready to get booked and paid without having to go through the social media marketing of your business, Batch is going to be the platform that bridges that gap. So say for instance, if you're flying to New York for a speaking engagement and you need content there, or even if you have a vendor pop-up event in New Orleans and you need content there, Batch is going to be the creator marketplace that helps you get high quality content to market your brand online. It's designed to help you finally show up online with strategy, with confidence, and create consistent content that converts and actually helps you reach your visibility and revenue goals without the overwhelm. So if you're ready to make content creation easier and more intentional, head over to batchcontent.com. That's BATCHED content.com. Join the waitlist so you are the first to know when Batch is launched in your city.
All right, so let's talk about time blocking. So time blocking is probably my top best strategy that I use for managing my calendar. Why? Because it allows me to break up my days in zones. So when people ask me, how are you able to do all of these things? It's because I'm not doing all of these things, essentially. But whenever I am doing all of these things, it's because those things are assigned to a category. So my first category is obviously top of day is work. Top of day from 8 to 5, I have to give that to my job. I do have breaks in between, and typically like my lunch break is where I utilize that time to batch shoot all of my content. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. It's literally 12 o'clock right here in Houston, and I am batching my content. I either do that for my short form content, or I'll do that for my podcast, my long form content. I'll utilize my lunch break to batch shoot. If I don't have to batch, then I'm either taking discovery calls during my lunch break, or I'm catching up on admin tasks. But my lunch hour is typically my 1 hour power hour that I love to tell people about, where I knock everything out. Now that I have taken away the free discovery calls, I like to break up my day by after 5 o'clock. If I don't have to directly go pick up my kid, if my husband's like, hey, I'm going to go pick up Avery from school today, then I like to go to the gym right after work because it allows me to step away from the computer, get outside, rewire my brain, and then come back, locked in on business. So if I do have to, pick up my kid, then I'm going to go pick up my kid. But if I don't have to go pick up my kid, then that's the next thing that I do. I'll go to the gym. I'll do about an hour and a half workout, and then I'll come back home about 6:30, 7 o'clock, and then that's typically when I lock in and I have discovery calls, strategy calls, things of that sort from between 7 to 9 p.m. Now, I know someone's going to be like, oh, well, who's taking care of the kid? Who's cooking? Who's bathing? Who's doing this? I have a very supportive husband. My husband has helped me tremendously when it comes to helping me with bathing the kid at nighttime or even, getting food ready. What are we going to eat for dinner? Things of that sort. I have a very supportive husband. I understand that may not be everyone's situation. I understand that. But one thing I will say is that having someone in your corner to support you while you're doing whatever you're doing is going to be critical to your success. So whether that's a spouse, whether that's a cousin, a friend, a parent, a auntie, a sister, a brother, whoever, if you can ask someone to help you take some things off of your plate, that is going to be critical for your success. Now, there are days where I feel bad because I'm just like, hey, I feel so bad. I haven't, bathed my kid in like 5 days because my husband's been taking care of it. I have to kind of like rewire my brain to not go into this mom guilt place, but also just embracing the fact that I have help and I have support and just being grateful that I do have that support rather than sitting in mom guilt and things of that sort. But we all know as moms, we're going to experience mom guilt. Nevertheless, that's just what it is, unfortunately. Now, after my 7 to 9 window where I'm taking calls or I'm on strategy calls with clients, I then go into my focus time block where I actually do all of my admin tasks. Now, this is where I can get a little lost in the sauce because sometimes I can go to bed at midnight, sometimes I can go to bed at 3 a.m. However, it's important for me to actually kind of dial it back because last year I was spending a lot of nights where I was going to bed at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And, that's not good for anybody, especially when you have to be up and moving around by 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. So with that being said, this year I'm going to be a little bit more strategic about actually trying to turn off my computer at 11 and then being in bed by midnight. But what I'm saying is that from 9 to midnight, that's typically where I have my focus, project, work, admin tasks, things that I do. That's also the time where I meet with my co-founder every Monday and Thursday. We have our batch founders meeting from 10 to 11 o'clock because she's also a mom, a wife, all of the things. And so at that time, that's when our house is the quietest. That's when we can get the most, undisturbed work time. And so I really utilize that 9 to 12 window like none other. Sometimes I will use it to knock out, proposals or to knock out client deliveries. I'll use it to edit content. I'll use it to knock out things for batch, build out campaigns, whatever I have on my to-do list. That's when I knock out all of those things between 9 to midnight. And then again, I do it all over again on the next day. Now, my content days, I only limit those days of me actually one-on-one servicing clients on Fridays and Saturdays. Those are the only days that I work with clients one-on-one. So I have my content days, they're between 2 to 5 on Fridays because I get off of work early on Fridays at noon. And then on Saturdays, it's from 12 to 3. So going back to what I said before, I limit myself to only 5, maybe 6 clients a month. And then I'm only working on Fridays or Saturdays. So that gives me about 2.5 weekends of where I'm actually working with clients. Other than that, I have 2.5 weekends to actually do nothing. So that gives me time for my social lives, time for me to hang out with my husband, time for me to hang out with my kids, time for me to do all the things. And then again, on Sundays, we do not work. I do not do anything on Sundays. I do not open my laptop. I do not check emails. I do not text my clients. I do not do anything. I am a couch potato on Sundays. I'm laid out on the couch, wig is off, pajamas are on, I'm knocked out, dead to the world. Don't ask me anything because I'm not going to respond until Monday morning, okay? After church, I can't guarantee you that you're going to be able to get in touch with me. And so being able to time block and zone my days, I'm actually able to determine and know what I'm actually going to be doing, and it's predictable. It doesn't have me in a place where I'm like, oh, I don't know when I'm going to have time to do this, or oh, I don't know when I'm going to do this. Every item that I am assigned to do has a place on my calendar, and when it does that, when I schedule it on the calendar, that's when I'm able to show up and be the best version of myself.
Y'all already know I'm all about working smarter and not harder, especially when it comes to marketing your brand. And if you're still relying only on social media to reach your audience, we need to fix that immediately. Social media is cute, but let's be real. The algorithm is unpredictable, and your content is probably only reaching a small percentage of your followers. That's why I swear by email marketing, because when I send an email, I know 100% of my subscribers are getting my messages. And the best part, Flowdesk makes it ridiculously easy. You can send beautiful on-brand emails, automate your sequences, and even create landing pages without needing to be tech savvy. And because you're listening, I got you a deal. Use my code SIDEHUSTLE at checkout and you'll get 50% off your Flowdesk subscription for the next 12 months. So if you're ready to stop relying on algorithms and start building an email list that actually converts, try Flowdesk for free. And don't forget to use the code SIDEHUSTLE at checkout for that exclusive 50% off.
The next thing I want to talk about is meal prep, food, all of the things, because you would think that I am in here cooking and doing all the things, and I am not. I do not cook during the week. I am literally a holiday and special occasions type of cook gal, if you say. But one of the things that has saved me the most time is having meal prep kits delivered. Now, this is a question that I got on my stories, I want to say, about a couple weeks ago. Someone asked me, what do I do about my kids' food? Okay, here's the thing. Avery's in this phase of being a very, very picky eater. Like, he literally only eats 3 things: pizza, chicken nuggets, and Chipotle. That's it. Okay, so do we order meal prep kits for Avery? No. We'll either go to the grocery store and grab him some things whenever we go get like our, household items for the week from the grocery store. But when it comes to our meal prep kits, we order meal prep kits for me and my husband, and we'll get this new meal prep kit that we're trying out. It's called Cook Unity, which I absolutely love. A lot of you knew that I was on this Factor run for about 2 years-ish. But Cook Unity, I feel, has way better meals, way better variety, and I absolutely love them. So we've been using Cook Unity. I will actually put a link down below so you can kind of check them out. And I want to say that your first box may be free, I want to say. But either way, check out the links. I'm going to put that in the description box so you can try it out, see what you like. But I will say having a meal prep kit, regardless if it's Factor, Cook Unity, or whatever, has been a game changer because it saves time. Nobody has time to defrost the food, season the food, cook the food. Like, all of that is just, it takes too much time. And like I said, we run a very, very tight schedule over here, okay? And so in this season, we have been on our meal prep kits, like Hinge, kind of thing. And that's what's worked for us. Now, if you're like, I love cooking for my family and that's your non-negotiable, by all means, sis, knock yourself out. However, it's not a non-negotiable for myself. As long as my family eats, I am fine, okay? But I will say that has saved me a lot of time and allows me to have more time to work on my business after my 9 to 5. And so if you are interested in trying that out, make sure you check the description down below and I'll put a link for you to try that out.
Okay, let me put y'all onto something, because if you're creating content and you're not using ManyChat, you are leaving money on the table, and that's on period. I use ManyChat for all of my DM automations, and I'm constantly telling my clients this. DM automations are one of the best ways for you to convert your content. Why? Because you're getting direct links straight to your audience without them having to wait for you to manually respond to DMs. You can send links to your lead magnets, event tickets, your offers, checkout pages, literally anything that you're selling automatically. It's fast, it's seamless, and it removes friction for your audience. But what I love most is not how just convenient it is, but how strategic it is, because you can also track your conversions and see where your leads are coming from and understand what content is driving real results. Not just likes, not just views, actual data. And if you want to try it out, I got a code for you. Use my code to get 30% off of ManyChat for your first 3 months. You can scan the QR code on your screen, or if you're listening, head over to cdcreativecoagency.com/ManyChat to grab your discount now. Trust me, once you automate your DMs, you will never look back.
Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is outsourcing things that don't have to be done by you. This is a big thing because I feel like as women, we feel like we have to do everything when we don't necessarily have to do everything. Like I said before, my husband is super supportive and he takes over bedtime routine, bath, all of the things. And so that doesn't necessarily have to be done by me. However, if that is your non-negotiable, if you're like, I have to, bathe my kid every night, I have to be the person to tuck them into bed, go off, sis. However, I utilize my husband. My husband, he goes in and takes care of everything. And so that's something I don't necessarily have to do every single night. There are nights where I will step in and give him a break and, step in to help out. But for the most part, my husband takes care of that. Other things that I out are cleaning. Most of the time we'll have someone come in and deep clean the house so that way I don't spend my free time actually doing things that I don't want to do. Because my free time, I like to be able to rest on my free time. So if the house is dirty and we need it cleaned, then we'll call the cleaners and have the cleaners come and clean the house for us. Another thing that I will also outsource is my editing. I do not edit. Now, at the beginning I had to edit, but things that don't have to be done by me, we're getting rid of them. And editing is one of those things for me. So my husband edits my podcast. He's the editor for my company. So I pay him to do all of our editing. But he edits my podcast. He also edits all of my client work as well. And then I also have an editor on staff that does the photo editing for me. So I do not spend any time editing anything. Now, I'm trying to get to a place where I can outsource driving because I do spend a lot of time driving and I do not like to spend a lot of time driving. But because I live out in the suburbs and most of my client works projects are in the inner city, I do have to spend a lot of time driving. So I'm looking into possibly outsourcing that so I don't have to do that, but more on that later. However, the key here is for you to be able to outsource the things that don't actually need to be done by you so you can buy back time in your day to invest in your business, to work on your business, to do the things that are going to move the needle in your business. Cleaning is not going to move the needle in your business. Outsource that. Editing could essentially move the needle in your business. However, it doesn't need to be done by you. Outsource it. So I would say take an audit of the things that you do in your week and actually look and see if those are things that have to be done by you or something that can be outsourced to someone else. And once you do that, then you'll be able to have more time where you can work on your business, you can be specific about the things that you do in your business, and you can make time for the things that are actually going to move the needle in your business. All right, the last thing I want to talk about is creating an automated marketing funnel. Now, this is one thing that I'm still work in progress in. I'm going to be 100% transparent. However, I have been working at it over these past couple of months of just having an automated marketing funnel. And now what does that mean? I don't want to always have to be on to market my business. And so if I could take a day to where I could knock out all of my marketing material, I can get it edited, and then I can have it scheduled out to where I can create it and forget about it, like that is key for me. Another thing that I want to do is that I want to essentially start running ads so that way that is another way that I can automate my marketing funnel. So I want to get to a place where I'm actually doing this because now instead of me always having to be on, I can buy back that time and put it elsewhere instead of me feeling like I always have to be on, always have to be marketing, always have to be, showing up doing the things. So I am in the process of building an automated marketing funnel. And so I'm going to give it a couple of months and then I will check back later and tune in and let you guys know all about what's happening and, if it works or not. But that's essentially how I am balancing. And I don't really like to say balancing because balancing is just so cliche. Like, on most days I feel like I'm a great business owner, but on some days I'm like, I'm not having the best days. And so some days I'm like, excelling in motherhood. And on the other days, I'm like, hey, my husband's got it. So I challenge you, don't be hard on yourself. Give yourself grace. Most of the time, a lot of us are building so many things at one time while also trying to show up for other people as well, whether that be a spouse or a child or children or even parents, siblings, and things of that sort. So you can only do what you are able to do. This is me based off of what I have currently going on in this season. That's not to say that it won't change over time, because as you move into different seasons, it's gonna call for different versions of you. So you will have to adjust based off of where you are in that season. Now, if you need help or if you have any questions relating anything that we talked about today, make sure you're following me on Instagram. You can follow me at cd.creativeco. You can shoot me a DM. Let me know you tuned into the episode by way of YouTube or on the podcast streaming apps. And if you have any questions, slide in my DMs. I love to hear from you guys. But without further ado, thank you so much for joining me on today's episode. And I will see you guys again in next week's episode. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Side Hustler podcast. If today's episode gave you clarity or the push you needed, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what's next. And if you want more behind the scenes content and strategy in real time, come hang out with me on Instagram at cd.creativeco. I'll see you in next week's episode.